If you've seen The Mandalorian and Grogu, you know that Rotta the Hutt is one of the main supporting characters in that film. This is Jabba the Hutt's son, now all grown up and trying to make a name for himself as an arena fighter. But the last time we saw the character was in 2009 in the Clone Wars movie, when he was a literal infant. So it makes some sense for the movie to remind the audience of who Rotta even really was. They did this in the scene with the Hutt twins when the Mandalorian was asking about Rotta and if they had any images of him. All they had, supposedly, was this picture of him as a baby, and a very cute one at that. This design was originally digitally sculpted by Christian Alsman of ILM. Then, according to a Screen Rant interview, Jon Favreau, the director of the film, actually painted a 3D print of that design himself while visiting director Guillermo del Toro's house, which is an interesting little tidbit considering that del Toro was widely rumored to be considered for directing a kind of Jabba the Hutt prequel film, although nothing ever came of that. Anyway, according to that interview, they actually switched over to using the 3D printed one that he painted instead of the actual 3D model, and that, I guess, is what we see here in this shot. And that very same maquette was on display at San Diego Comic-Con just a few days ago. You can see here in this footage from Gabe's Empire. Now, if you've been watching this channel for a while, you should know that when the subject of maquettes comes up, the subject of Regal Robot will not be far behind because they have made just an incredible number of replicas of the maquettes used in the production of various Star Wars films. As soon as I heard that this Rotta maquette existed, I had my fingers crossed that Regal Robot would come through for us and create a replica, and they've done just that. And here it is. They've very kindly offered to loan me an early prototype of their maquette replica, and that's what you see here. If you're watching this when the video went up, this is currently available for order on the Regal Robot website, and I'll give you all the details about that at the end of the video. But first, let's just take a look at him. My understanding is that the physical maquette itself is taken directly from the 3D model that was created by Christian Altsman, and then the paint master was done by Max Fry over at Regal Robot, based on the reference photos they had of the original maquette. And as someone who knows a thing or two about Hutt paint jobs, I think he did a fantastic job. I think it looks really great. Especially if you look at the eyes and the mouth, they have that nice gloss that gives it a real sense of life. And one thing you might not expect looking at this is that you can actually remove him from the base. This is something that is not true of most of Regal Robot's archive collection maquettes, but is true with the Grogu maquette that they released a little while ago, so it makes sense, I think, and this allows you to kind of pretend like, he's just Rotta, just right there with you, if you want to put him maybe in some sort of a themed environment or something like that. Here we can get a little better look at those eyes, how they're so glossy and reflective. And you can also see his little ears there, which is a little known detail. Just look at that face. He's so cute. For my money, he's definitely cuter than Grogu. Uh-oh. I hope I didn't upset anyone with that, but I'm pretty sure I'm not the only person who feels this way. Anyway, if you want to put him with the rest of your maquettes in the archive collection, you can just put him back on the base. And he also comes with a plaque right here from Christian Alsman. This one is a artist proof because this is just on loan to me, but it'll look more or less like this. This will come in only one edition, which is the signature edition, signed with a plaque by Christian Alsman, and it will cost $499. They do have a payment plan, though. If you want to spread the payments out over up to 6 months, you can do that. Now, the way they're handling the orders for this is a little bit different than the other archive collection maquettes, so it's worth paying attention to. This is going to be available for pre-order starting today. In fact, by the time this video goes up, it should be available on the Regal Robot website to order. They're going to take orders for 1 week from today, so until August 5th, and then they're going to close it off. Anyone who orders during that period will be guaranteed to get one of these. If you don't order, then basically you're out of luck. And the edition size will depend, of course, on how many people will actually order. These are expected to ship in the first quarter of 2027. So again, what I have here is a very early prototype. I'll put all this information in the video description, as well as a link to the order page on the Regal Robot website. But finally, I just wanted to take one more look at this guy, because he is quite a cutie, and I also wanted to give my thanks to Regal Robot for creating so many of these great collectibles for fans like me, and for me personally, for allowing me to be the one to introduce this collectible to the world. I am very honored. It's pretty amazing that we have movies like The Mandalorian and Grogu with a Hutt as a main character, and that we have companies like Regal Robot willing to make collectibles based on them. Thanks very much for watching. Look at that tongue.